Hello again, my friends. Welcome back to St. Luminous. I want to thank you guys for joining me here. Hey, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and then hit the notification bell so you can be notified the next time I put out a video. And one other important note before I talk about what you just listened to is there's a lot of stereo-ness here in the KSP8. And so what you should do right now is pause the video and go find some headphones, especially if you could find some good quality headphones. If not, earbuds will do, but at least be able to hear the stereo-ness. So go ahead, pause the video. I'll be right here, and then come right back so you can hear these beautiful sounds of the KSP8. Today, I decided I would do something different because the last video I used my guitar as the source into the KSP8. So today I thought I would use the synthesizer. Today I'm using the Waldorf Blofeld, and I've got, you can see it right here. This is a Novation SL Mark III keyboard controller. So I'm going to be using these two today to go ahead and play through the KSP8 so you can hear delays when a synthesizer is fed through it compared to a guitar. So what you just heard was a preset. Let me go back over here. I made some changes here. It's called Basic Delay, 250 milliseconds. And I hope you heard something there that sound was anything but basic. Of course, a lot of that had to do with the Blofeld because I was adjusting the modulation wheel. I was adjusting the gate time on the arpeggiator using the SL Mark III. At least I was using that arpeggiator rather than the Blofeld's arpeggiator. But I hope it proves a point with delays in any other effects processor. The sound you get is highly dependent on what you put into it. And there's a lot of people that don't get that. They expect the processor to have its own inherent sound almost regardless of what you put into it. So if your bass sound, like the Blofeld, isn't very good, you know, the effects processor isn't going to pretty it up. But maybe that's what you want. Maybe that's what you want, an ugly sound. Let's go ahead and look at the presets today. I'm not going to dive too deep into into each of the presets because there's a lot to go through. We're starting here with what is called a basic delay. Real quickly, just looking through it, you can see some of the parameters, a wet-dry mix. I do have the KSP8 100% wet, so there's no dry. None of this is the dry signal going through the KSP8. I have a digital mixer, and the dry is coming through the digital mixer, and I'm mixing it in with the KSP8 over here. You can see some of the parameters here. For that preset, I adjusted my delay to be a dotted eighth note delay. I think I forgot to mention that. So I was just using a dotted eighth note delay sound. So let me play you the simple arpeggio over here. All right, and now I'm going to, that's with the KSP8. Let me turn off the KSP8. All right, simple little arpeggio going on. I'm only using two notes, so let me make it a little more interesting. Okay, and I'm going to bring the KSP8 back in. Much more interesting, just as a dotted eighth note delay. Okay. Yeah, there you go. So even on a basic delay, it's great. If you just want to use it as a dotted eighth note thing, you can certainly do that and play with the parameters. I even have a little tiny bit of feedback there, although that's just what was in the preset. All right, let's move on to the next preset. Okay, this next preset, number 156, it's just called wide slapback 76 milliseconds. Without even going into the preset and looking at parameters, you can tell it's a slapback delay, 76 milliseconds. When it says wide, you could presume it's probably a little more stereo. Let me go ahead and give you my dry sound. I picked a different preset, something on the Blofeld anyway, something kind of unusual. There you go. Very fun. It is just the Blofeld dry. Just the Blofeld. Okay. Now let me go ahead and turn on the KSP8. So that's with this 76 millisecond slapback. Let me turn off the KSP8. Turn it back on. All right, so it's a very subtle thing, and I don't know that YouTube is able to present how subtle it is, but definitely just a little bit wider. But I really feel like with this preset, there's just a little bit more of some sort of ambiance, some sort of like just that extra icing on top that really makes this this little Blofeld preset usable and inspiring to play. Let's quickly look into the parameters. I like that preset because it's almost as if it's not there. But if you turn it off, you know, I suddenly notice like, oh, that's not as much fun to listen to or play. So some of the parameters here, you can see it is a stereo and it's a dual moving delay, which I'm not. This video is not about getting into the algorithms. We will do a video on that. Just a quick look over here. You can see it is a slapback, 76 milliseconds, but look at the right side. It's 74 milliseconds. So that already starts to tell you, oh, this is how you're getting kind of that wide effect because the two delays are just slightly off. They're 2 milliseconds different from each other, and the brain tends to interpret these things as the quicker delay is approaching one side over the other. Again, I don't want to go too deep into this, but just know that in this wide slapback, it's two different delay times. One on the left side is different than the right side, and then the rest of it here also look 0, 0, 12% feedback. They've inverted the feedback, minus 21%, some high-frequency damping. How about this? If you're just looking for a cool slapback, you don't want to mess with parameters, this is a great one. But also, look, no matter how complex this may be with all these parameters, look, a lot of this stuff is just set to 0. All right, set to 0 here. If you wanted to, you can set the feedback to 0. You could turn all that damping way up, and you'll still probably get a slapback that you'll like. So if all else fails and you have some complicated algorithm, turn a lot of stuff you don't know what to do with yet, turn it to 0 and work with what you do understand. And then from there, dig in a little bit, tweak some of those parameters, see what happens. Let's move on to the next preset. All right, number 167, 4-tap delay pan milliseconds. Let's listen to it. The Blofeld dried. The KSP8 is not engaged. Here's the Blofeld, just the Blofelds. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and bring in the KSP8. Oh my God, it is so good. And that's just the preset. I haven't touched it. Notice something else. I played differently. That preset there, that effect really just inspired me to go in a different direction without the effect. So this great effect, it really just made me feel like playing a little sparser, a little slower than I was playing. Also, something to note, you may detect a little bit of reverb. The reverb is not coming from the KSP8. The Blofeld has a little bit of reverb into it. I'm going to leave it there just because the preset just sounds so good, even with the reverb. But when you put that reverb into this, I could play this all day. Just a gorgeous sound. Let's look into this 4-tap delay. Clearly, it's a delay with 4 taps. A lot of parameters, 3 pages of parameters. You can see here there's some high-frequency damping. I might play with this hold in a second. Lots of parameters. You can see tap 1, coarse, tap 1, fine. Again, I'm not going to go super deep into this because I want you to hear more presets just know one thing, that because there's so much presets here and you can play with the balance, it does something. This preset does something really cool, which is the little delays kind of swirl around your head, almost like, it's panning. It sounds like it's panning, but it's not panning in the way your DAW does panning or the way an auto pan works, because that adjusts the actual level of the sound from the left to right side. In this case, there is not an auto panning function. This preset only has delays. But listen to how, when you program in the delays just right, especially if you understand the algorithm, how it's the sound sounds like it's just moving from speaker to speaker. Yeah, and I'm going to leave you with this. I turned on hold. So now the delays are sitting in the buffer. Let me bring it down a little bit. Jesus. There we go. So now the delays are sitting there in the buffer, repeating and repeating. Oh, what a great sound. I'm going to turn off the hold. Listen to how it didn't just chop it off. As soon as I went and changed it here to off, the hold didn't just turn right off. It faded down. Just little tiny things like that are so important, and what make the engineering behind this just fantastic. All right. After that bit of heaven, let's move on to the next preset. This is number 178. It's called Spectral 4-tap. And I do remember we looked at this in my previous video where I played it on guitar. But let's go over this now with a synthesizer. I've decided to keep the same Blofeld preset. So you can hear there's a little tail on it due to a reverb effect that's in the Blofeld. So and I'm going to keep that in there. So that way the reverb actually goes and gets processed through the KSP8. Let me bring in the kit. So let me play it again. Okay, and now with this preset, Spectral 4-tap. Oh, again, just that preset. I don't have to know anything about the preset just to be left in a space where I could play that for hours. It's just heavenly. And totally usable. This is what is terrific. When I played this with the guitar, it was usable. Playing this, at least with this preset on the Blofeld, totally usable. I don't have to change anything, and I can play for hours. But let's have a little more fun. Let me look at some of these parameters here. So let's look at the screen here. And, of course, this algorithm is called Spectral 4-tap. So actually, in a sense, it's the same as the previous algorithm. There's 4 delay taps. Really interesting. There's a high frequency and low frequency damping. Looks like, all right, there's some diffusion here. I'm not going to get into a lot of these parameters because it's just too much. I just want you to hear the preset. I am going to do this, though. I want to play with the shaper. Why? Because on my last video with the guitar, I played with the shaper. So I want to play with the shaper here again. I'm going to turn it up. I did some research on the shaper, so I kind of know what it does, but I still need to keep playing with it to fully understand the shaper and how it works with a synthesizer. But let me play it now. Let me play it. Let's listen to it. Oh my gosh, I love that, what it did right there. When I went and used a pitch wheel and to pitch up a whole note, the delays were still playing the previous note, the D, and it just gave this just gorgeous sounding type of distortion, but it doesn't sound like distortion you get from like a TS9 or something like that, or an overdrive pedal. It's not that kind of distortion. And it just sounds incredible. I mean, listen to that. Yeah, that's just a gorgeous sounding distortion there. It just works. And you heard it with my guitar if you watched my last video. It was very, very usable. And this, I could start playing with this all day because there's, I believe these are comb filters that you can tune the comb filters and how much of that comb filtering you want. So you see it's already tuned here, and there is a little bit there. You could play at these levels and the amount of balance. What this actually means is that I could do a video just on this algorithm, and it would be like a couple of hours playing with it, looking to all these things. But instead, let's go to the next preset. And by the way, you guys, if you are enjoying the sounds you are hearing from this video, go ahead and hit subscribe right now and smash that thumbs up button. Really important. If you like what you're hearing, hit that thumbs up button so the YouTube algorithms keep pushing this along for other people. We could develop our little community here and talk about gorgeous things like the Kurzweil KSP8. Next preset. All right, this preset is number 181, Fanfare in G major. Without looking at the algorithm, I'm guessing it has something to do with the key of G major, or maybe a G major chord. But nevertheless, let's listen to it. First thing I want to do, though, before we listen to what the KSP8 does, let's listen to the Blofeld. In fact, I'm going to play a G triad. Let's do it. Yeah. Okay, that is just the Blofeld. I mean, that's also some gorgeous sounds right there. This is a preset package I bought for the Blofeld from Don Solaris. Just incredible. So you heard the Blofeld. Now, let's go ahead and put this in with the KSP8. Ready? Oh, you guys will have to excuse me for a moment. That is just a stunning sound. I haven't even played with the volume of that effect because it might work a little bit better with turning down the volume. Maybe the volume is just perfect. But even without bringing the KSP8 up and down in volume, it's a stunning sound. That really is a stunning sound. It's sort of like this crystalline thing going on top. Just beautiful. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. Let's go ahead and move on to the next preset. All right, number 184. This is called the Generator. So here is my dry sound, just the Blofeld. All right. Now let's listen to that same sound going through this preset, the Generator. Oh, yeah. That sound degenerated real quick. Now, at this moment, the Blofeld is off. All you are hearing is pure KSP8. And I love just what it's done to the sound. because these are the delay, and this is the feedback of the delay going on and on, but you hear how the sound is degenerated, but the basic core tone is still there. Oh yeah, and it's degenerated, if you will, in such a way that is just, that is a gorgeous sound. And you know, I can play with this, take it down in volume, right, and then bring it back up. So you could do this in some of your musical creations, have this kind of sound coming in and out. And again, this is just the preset. I haven't gone in here and tweaked this. So let me go ahead and take this craziness. I love it though. And fade out. Oh, wonderful. Let's look at the next preset. All right, this next preset is number 190, laser delay into reverb. Here is the Blofeld dry. Okay, nice little pad sound. Now I'm going to bring in the KSP8 so you could hear this laser delay reverb into reverb effect. Oh, yeah. Oh, dreamy. You know, it's just stunning to me that this is just a preset, and I could go on and play with this for hours. It is such a dreamy little effect. I do want to dig into it to show you something really interesting about this algorithm. Okay, so you can see the algorithm right here is laser delay, and it almost looks like it's pointing both to left and right, reverb. And so what it is I love this, that Kurzweil has these configurable algorithms. And so right down here it says A into B configuration. So for this one, in other words, delay is going into reverb. So I can go ahead and change that and now switch it. So now the reverb feeds the delay. Still sounds good, but it's not a fair comparison, because if I was going to do reverb into delay, I have to think about it, understand, well, wait a minute, I have to set my reverb, I have to set the mix parameters, the mix of the amount of delay and reverb. I got to adjust that just right because I want to feed reverb into delay, and I would probably adjust some of the reverb parameters. But they've laid it out nicely. All on one page are all the delay parameters, the laser parameters, because it is a laser delay, and on page 3, it's all reverb parameters. So there may be a ton of parameters here, but I really have to appreciate how they've laid this out on the screen. They didn't just throw them up here. It's very logical. Reverb on here, delay on here, and then the main bigger parameters here, like the mix of delay, mix of reverb, which direction is reverb feeding delay or delay feeding reverb. I'll get to this in a different video, delay time. So just absolutely wonderful sound. Let's move on to the next preset. All right, so what we have here on the Blofeld, it's categorized as an atmospheric sound. It's called Antarctica. So let's listen to the Blofeld dry without the KSP8. I could move the mod wheel. So with the mod wheel, this becomes a little bit more interesting. Now I'm going to bring up the KSP8 with warped echoes. Let's listen to this with the warped echoes. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. I don't know about you guys. I don't find that sound particularly inspiring with this little atmospheric sound. So what I'm going to do is now I am going to play with the volume of the KSP8 and bring the KSP8 down. So this warped echoes kind of sits underneath that Antarctica sound that I'm playing. Let's do it. I'm going to bring it down, say, I felt it was just, that effect is just too much in my face. So I'm going to bring it down a lot, like 9 dB. So you can't see it on your screen, but I'm adjusting my digital mixer down the KSP8 down in volume about 9 dB. So let's listen to it now with the KSP8 lowered in volume. Let me adjust the mod wheel. Yeah. Okay, I think I like that a lot better. It's something I can use. I'd have to play with this more. I could lower it down even more, but I want you to check out something here. The warped echoes for me was too in my face. The effect was so massive. I didn't like it. That doesn't mean it's not usable. It just might mean that that effect is just way too much in your face. And if you tuck it in by lowering the volume, it might just work well for you. So it's not just about the preset itself. A lot of times these things have to do with the volume and where it sits with your dry sounds. All right, very fun. Let's move on to the very last preset. All right, this is preset number 191, the last of the delays. It says here 2 delays, 1 chorus, 1 flange. So that already tells you what's going to be in this effect. I'm going to play the Blofeld real quick. It's a little bit of a lead sound. And just by playing with the mod wheel, I like this little Blofeld sound because it can be very expressive using the mod wheel. So let's listen to this lead sound. It is very dry though. Let's listen to it with this preset. Now with the Blofeld. All right. For my ears, not particularly inspiring. Maybe you loved it. So without going here and changing presets, because I definitely would, I want to see if I can make a little bit of use of the preset as is. So now you heard it. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring it down in volume. Again, maybe about 9 dB, because it's just a little too much for me. Let's hear how this sounds. A little bit better. I'm going to keep bringing the volume down. Let's find out what happens. Let's bring it really low. Minus 15 dB. Okay, let's hear it. Okay, and then without it. Oops. Oh, boy. And then without it. Bring it back in. All right, there's a little bit there with that. I think what's really more interesting about this effect, and let's look at some of the parameters, is that you have the possibility of making 2 delays plus a chorus effect and a flange effect all in one preset. Let's look at it really quick. You have the main page here with the output gain, the mix of the left and right channels, and and the algorithm. It's a dual moving delay plus moving delay, and no movement in the LFOs for the left, and the right does. Well, there you go. So there's your flange, there's your chorus, and there's your 2 delays, an 80 millisecond. So kind of okay, there you go. I did hear a slapback, and you've got something more of an, to give these long echoes, 500 millisecond delay. Again, for me personally, I would go in and adjust these parameters to my liking if I really wanted to have 2 different delays and a chorus and a flange. But the main thing I think is to see the power and that one little preset that you've are able to have it separate chorus, separate flange, separate 2 separate delays all in one algorithm, or in one preset in this case. All right, my friends, and that is it for the KSP8. when you play, and its delays when you play a synth through it. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, because that really helps this channel and push these videos out through YouTube's algorithm. So the more of you that press that thumbs up, the more people are going to see it. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can be notified the next time that I put out a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys real soon.